Hey Rockstar, Steve aka Void here. Welcome to another episode of RIFFSTARTER, where I help you play your favorite riffs from day one by removing those annoying speed bumps and roadblocks that slow you down. All the strategies and techniques from the show are based on my best-selling book, Practice Less, Play More, which you could find at playmoresongs.com. So welcome to today's show. Very festive show. I wish I had my Santa hat on, but I don't. I forgot that one at home. Today we are going to be looking at one of the most popular holiday songs, holiday riffs that are out there, and that is Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms. So let's take a look at what a lot of guitar players will do when they're looking at, playing a holiday riff, or when they're playing any riff that they love. What they typically will do is they'll try to match their current skill level to the level of the riff. And what that means is that they're going to look at a tab that looks like something like this, and they're going to go one note at a time. They're going to take this as face value, okay? So they're going to play this note here, okay, or this chord here, okay? They're going to look, if they know what this means, about the slide in, so they're going to try sliding into that right away. They're going to play da-da-da, and they're going to slide into this one. Okay, and they're going to try to play everything that the tab shows, okay? And that's a bit of a problem. If you've been watching RIFFSTARTER, then you know that that's a problem, because that's going to create, usually it's going to make the vehicle drive slower. It's going to get you to the end result a lot slower, because you're looking at it as one thing at a time, one little piece of information at a time. And very often what happens, no matter what level you're at, what happens is you can be bogged down by all of those details. Instead of looking at the essence of the riff first and then getting that, and that's what I call play from day one. Basically, instead of trying to match your current skill level to the level of the riff, you match the riff to your current skill level, and that's how you play from day one. You get that foundation down, you own that part, you get that confidence, and then you build on that. And you upgrade until it sounds like the original, or until you're satisfied. So that doesn't matter if you're a novice, if you're a beginner, if you're an advanced player. It is all about matching it to your current skill level and then just doing the rest, the remaining upgrades from there. So what we're going to do in RIFFSTARTER is basically show you just some options of what you can do to simplify it to your level. Because I don't know exactly what level you're at, but hopefully these tips will help you. And I mean, this is episode 23. I think we've been doing pretty good so far based on the feedback. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a few different techniques, okay? And let's look back at that tab. When we see a tab like this, typically what we want to do is we want to remove any of the extra stuff that is going to slow us down, okay? And so what that could mean is we remove the slides, okay? That could remove, we can remove the bends, okay? We can look at these, so these would be called staccato. So, in the riff, we hear this, like, ba-bum, bum, bum, these short little notes, instead of like that. And so, not to say that for everybody that would screw you up, but for some people that might. So we could subtract these things where we are removing those extra details and we're just looking at the essence. Now, I also recommend that you choose songs and riffs that you love. And that's a big part of picking up the guitar in the first place. It motivates you, but also it creates a bit of a template in your mind of what the song's supposed to sound like. Like, you know what the riff is supposed to sound like because you've heard it so many times. And so really you're just kind of filling in the blanks from there. This riff has been heard, hundreds of thousands of times all over the world. And so it's one of the most popular ones out there when it comes to this time of year. And so it's not hard to know, like, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, the rhythm that's there, okay? And then we have the actual melody that what you can do here, like, I'm going to just give you one of the answers. One of the ways to simplify is you can actually take one of the notes of this double stop. So these are two notes at a time. And for some people, that's going to be fairly straightforward. Like, you might go, so you might slide in, or you don't do those slides. So you can do that. That's cool. Okay. Instead of the slides, you do that on day one, or at least as the first attempt. Okay. And then here. And then you basically play the double stops without any fancy stuff. So no bending or sliding or anything like that. So you can do that. So you could even replace this 4 and 5, or 14 and 15. You can go, instead of bending up, what you can do is you can go up to, let's say, to 16 or 15 and 16. You can go, you can basically play just the chords. So you can just do that. That's one option. But maybe that's too much, playing these double stops. Maybe you play some of them. Maybe you don't play any of them. I always recommend going with like something that's going to be basic for you, because once you get that basic version down, maybe that takes 3 minutes, maybe it takes 10 minutes. But once you have that down, then you can upgrade from there. So what a lot of people will do is they'll try over and over and over and over on the stuff that is overwhelming your mind, and then you're in your practice session, you don't get a full working version of the song. You might get something like this. You're trying to memorize it, and you're trying to do all the moves, and it just stop and go. It doesn't sound like music, or it sounds really, really slow, like. Which is okay. That's better, because you have a steady pulse to it, but it still doesn't sound like, it's not going to be satisfying. Okay, it's really not going to be satisfying, and sometimes people might not even recognize it. And it's always fun when people recognize the songs you play on guitar. So what I would do is I would simplify this to maybe just one note. So we look at what note out of the two will create the melody. Okay, so let's see if it's 12. Probably not going to be 12. It's probably going to be 13. Okay, maybe you're going to be 13 and then 12. Or maybe it is 12. Actually, maybe it is 12. And then 12, 15, 13, 15. Yeah, so maybe we play that, well, just a single note there. So here, and sorry, I was looking at the tab here, so check this out. I was just looking at the two notes between this double stop, and so sometimes it's the one on the bottom, sometimes it's the one at the top, but you're looking at the one that is going to be what's going to represent the melody the best. Okay, so in this case here, and then here, you still don't have to do the bend. You can just go like, you maybe do a slide. So at first what you can do, you can go, and because it's single notes, you can probably get that a lot faster. I would bet that you can get that a lot faster than playing the double stops. Because then you have like fingering issues that I'm just trying to like get the stacks and the diagonal shapes, all that stuff, getting that under your fingers, it could be a little tricky. So what you do is you take that single note version first. And a good mental frame to have is that you're jamming along with the record. You're standing on stage, so SOS I call it. You're standing on stage, which means that you're going to be playing with Bobby Helms, and you're going to be compatible with what they're doing. And this is to allow for you to play in time, but also have this be recognizable. You play that for someone, and if they've heard this song, they might say, is that Jingle Bell Rock? Okay, so it's a single note version, and it doesn't have the bend or anything, but who cares? Nobody's that like detail oriented, okay? So you have this, okay, you have that part there. Now, what's cool is that you could start taking some of that, and you could start upgrading from there. Let's just say you have that single note first. Maybe then you take the double stops here, 13 and 12, 13 and 12, then you have the 12 and 12, you go like, and then maybe you don't do the double stops on the second bar, so you just keep that, so you go, or even some of it, maybe just this part over here, you do the single notes, and you do this as double stops, so you go, so yeah, you go. So some of it is single notes, some of it isn't. You see how like there are choices? What a lot of guitar players will do is they'll look at the tab as like gospel. It's like scripture, that we don't want to upset the guitar gods and do something different than what's written on the tab. When the tab is just a representation of what's on the recording, okay? You don't need to do exactly what's on the tab. So what we want to do instead is we want to match this to our current skill level, and then steer the vehicle so that we can always make music, and it's always just a little bit upgraded from what we did before. Because what happens is once we're practicing that new version, we always have that other one to fall back on. When you play something face value like this, where you try it with the sliding in, and then doing the bends and all that, what happens is you don't end up with any musical version at the end very often, and you'll end with a disappointing session, or you'll end the session disappointed, and basically you don't have anything musical to fall back on. So practice could often get very frustrating because you don't have anything to fall back on. Whereas when you play from day one, you have a musical version where you're playing, you're reinforcing that musicality, and then also you're on a separate track, you're basically practicing the new stuff, and that's cool. You're working on it. That's great. But you always could fall back on your playing version, your play from day one version. Okay. So just another idea, just a couple other ideas here about this. What we could also do is so instead of bending, so we could slide that double stop there. So we can go like this. We can go. So you can slide that, and that gives you that that smooth sound, like the bend. The bend is vertical smoothness, and then the slide is horizontal smoothness. So we can create that same idea with sliding. Okay, so then once you're starting to get more comfortable, then you can start adding in like even one of those slides. Maybe just do the first one, and then you don't do the second slide. Okay, and then once that's feeling more comfortable, like as you're playing the song, as you're getting more comfortable and confident with the riff, then you could add in that second one for the detail. Like that it just gives a little bit more detail to it. And then you could add the bend in, things like that. So I wanted to also show you another idea is you can also play instead of the exact locations that are here. So we talked about subtraction, but also let's talk about relocation, because you can also play some of these things in different places. You can use different fingers, and you can also play these chords in different places. I'm just going to show you, give you an idea. Now, obviously, this is going to be like a full masterclass on relocation, but the fretboard is like a grid. So what we can do is we can take this idea, this right here, you know, this, especially these last two parts. I use the middle finger and index finger. Or I'll do the bend over here. See, I use the middle finger and index finger, but also that last part. You can also play this on the second and third string that you're already on. So instead of same notes but different location. Same with the ending. Or play these same lines in different places. So experiment with that. If you need any help, obviously you can reach out, you can comment below. But the idea here is to open your mind to the fact that your tab is not the only place where the answers are. That's just a starting point. Okay, tabs are just suggestions, as I like to say. You want to capture the essence of the song any way that you can. If that means doing some of the double stops, doing some single notes, not doing the slides, doing the slides in one part but not in another, you are in control of that. And it's all about getting that steady pulse, which is what we need to do. That's always, as a guitar player, we need to keep reinforcing that. All this super slow practice, that's stop and go, it's just not going to get you where you need to go fast enough. Because what we need to do instead is work our simplification muscle. We want to simplify. We want to create a game we're guaranteed to win. Okay, so lots of different ideas to think about there. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Nice. We got John here. We got Billy. Awesome. Welcome, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Again, you want to take your instead of taking your current skill level and trying to match it to the riff. We want to take the riff and match it to your current skill level. That's how you play from day one. So if you want more information about this, you can definitely check out my book, Practice Less, Play More, at playmoresongs.com. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.